Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. So here we are. We have reached the end of another book. This book is, of course, Driving Blind from 1997, a collection of 21 short stories. Today's story, The Bird That Comes Out of the Clock, brings us up to Ray Bradbury story review number 305. So we're somewhere past the halfway mark in this project of attempting to locate, read, and review all of the roughly 600 short stories written by Bradbury. But for now, we're going to do this one more, and then we're going to put the show back on the shelf, let it breathe for a while I track down some more Ray Bradbury stories to eventually share with you, because I do intend to one day successfully locate every single short story that he ever wrote. It's getting more difficult to find numerous stories all in one place, so it can become expensive to try and track them down one story at a time from different books. But if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the show, the way that this works is I do a very brief synopsis of what happens in the story, and then I wrap it with just a very light analysis of what I found, what I took away from it. Did I find it to be a good story? And I mainly do this just for my own entertainment. Occasionally I find out that some of you are in fact watching these videos, which I do appreciate, but really this is for me and for my own betterment and my own entertainment. So here we go, The Bird That Comes Out of the Clock. Three very unpleasant neighborhood women are sitting on the porch, and they're basically complaining about the new woman who's moved across the street. She's a single woman. She's younger. Her name is Kit Random, which is pretty on the nose. And they describe her as the bird that comes out of the clock, like the cuckoo bird, I guess, which is not really a, having read the story, not really a comparison that I fully see representative of the story, of her behavior. She does do a lot of different random things, has many different hobbies, and she's going from one thing to the next, but I don't think she's described as being so dependable as a clock, which always keeps perfect time. But, you know, she's a random young woman, and immediately they begin to see her as trouble, begin to see her as competition, but what will they do about it? She does, Crit Random does all these different eclectic things. She's into pottery, into painting, into baking. She has a swing in the back yard. But long story short, she tells the women who she sees sort of talking about her over on the porch that basically, rather than settle down with one man, I think that I like to make a lot of different men happy, and there's a trick to it. So she basically says that in some instances, I let them win. I let them have fun. I help them have fun, and for that, they appreciate me more, and I'm easily able to steal them away from their wives if I so choose. But she does all these things, like when the one woman orders her husband to mow their lawn, she calls in a truck and she puts concrete on her lawn so it won't never have to be mowed again. And then also, she puts up a swing in the backyard, and this man who hasn't been on a swing set since he was a little kid, he sort of has this great moment of fun and reconnection with his childhood. Likewise, with the third man, they play a game of marbles on the sidewalk, which is very childish, but it's something that he remembers from his childhood, and she's able to temporarily, momentarily reconnect him with these things. Eventually, each of the three men pack their bags and basically say, I'm going away, business trip or whatever. But they basically never come back. But the women, the wives, they're not ready to sort of accept the fact that they've lost their husbands. So they go on each night, putting a meal on the table, letting it sit there, grow cold, waiting for him to come home. He never comes home. Eventually the candle blows itself out from melting the wax. But late in the night, each night, at different times, they'll hear noises as each of their husbands sneak in over to Kit Random's house to basically have fun and do whatever. There's actually no mention of sex in the story, which is pretty common of Bradbury. He very rarely touches on that. From the story itself, it's not actually clear whether they're having affairs or whether that's what they're looking for, or it's actually something more playful and less risque, I would say, because I'm just going to say that's it. I'm going to say there was no sex involved. I think it was something deeper, more about actual happiness than that. But okay, so it's not actually a very good story, but it is kind of fun despite itself. As I say with pretty much all of these videos, this is something that if it's in the hands of another author other than Bradbury, maybe you read a page and you put it down and you don't come back to it. But with Bradbury, there's always something captivating about the way way his prose sort of rolls off the tongue. It's always deceptively simple, slightly poetic, and he's able to create a kineticism that keeps dragging you along and sort of build up inertia and momentum just for the way it's hard to read these stories without reading them quickly, because it just feels like that's the spirit in which they are written, like it's a madcap dash into whatever humorous end is inevitably coming at the end of these stories. So that's how I feel about it. But what is it about? I guess on one hand, we have these married women who are older, stuck in their ways, very controlling of their husbands. And then you have Kit Random, who is younger, more friendly, fun, willing to change, willing to do things for them. And they respond to it for better or worse. So it's probably an inevitability that if a person like Kit Random decides that she wants your husband, she's going to get your husband if you don't take the opportunity to sort of change your ways. And I guess if there is one sort of point to this all, is that they were warned. Kit Random warned them, and basically they were unable to change. They didn't believe that their husbands would ever leave them, and lo and behold, they apparently did. I don't know if this is a warning to women or what. Bradbury was said to be pretty happily married, I guess, for a long, long time. And in fact, when his wife did die, there was like a whole month where he didn't write for like a month. And that was a very rare occurrence in his entire lifetime, that he would feel so heartbroken and so heartsick that he couldn't write. But he couldn't write for a brief period of time after his wife died. So who knows? Maybe there's a little bit of biographical in here. It's hard to say. But in the end, it's a fun story, but not actually a very good story. The Bird That Comes Out of the Clock, story number 21 of 21, bringing to a close Driving Blind from 1997, which on the whole, I'm going to recommend the book. I think that it's worth it. A lot of these later day Bradbury books are said to be leftovers, they're said to be of lesser quality. Everybody wants to read his stuff from the 40s and 50s, and I understand that. Those are the more famous stories, but there's some good stuff in these later day collections that he did, because he had a long, long career. And we live in a strange world where people they get hung up and they get attached to people's sort of classic periods, but there's, he's gone now, he's been gone since 2012, but for many decades after his heyday, he was still very prolific, he was still doing a lot of great stuff, and I think that on the whole, Driving Blind is a pretty solid collection, but you'll have to get yourself a copy and judge that for yourself. So what is next? I'm going to take a break, going to put this book on the shelf with the others, maybe do a little bit of research, try and find out where I can get some more Bradbury stories in bulk without having to, buy 5 different collections just to get 5 different stories, because that's not really economically feasible right now. But rest assured, I will get back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury eventually. And in the meantime, I'm just reacquainting myself with YouTube after that break, going back to October. Between October and February, mid-February, I really didn't do any videos without my computer. I replaced the computer. It's very, very fast. I'm very happy with that. So this is going to offer me the opportunity as I ease back into this process of perhaps doing videos better than I have in the past, hopefully. That is the goal, of course, to always be improving. Also, if you're unaware of this, I do have a Substack page where increasingly I have been sharing my own fiction. I read a lot of flash fiction and microfiction. So far, everything that I've shared there has been under about 1,000 words, but I do everything from 6-word stories to 10-word stories, 2-sentence stories, 25, 50, 75, 100, and so on, up until about 300. You get about 300 words, between 300 and like 1,000, 1,500, you call that flash fiction. I'm not sharing any true full-length short stories yet. That is coming down the road. Bradbury had a saying that basically, I dare you to write a story every single week, because 52 weeks in a row, you're not going to write 52 bad short stories. You might write 51 bad stories, but one of them is bound to be good. And so the microfiction and the flash fiction allows me to To be very prolific, explore a lot of different ideas in brief, keeps me writing every day, keeps that part of my mind working, and of course, that sort of feeds back into all the stories that I read and review for you here on Let's Talk Entertainment. So there you have it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going to go watch some racing. See you later.